Everybody do their Hall of Trials. This one is, I like the headband.
Way to do something.
So this week's Hall of Trials is a little bit different in the sense that this is the first time since the new Hall of Trials came out that you don't need A-Lots and you don't need Spirit's Breath. So I'm just going to go through this one time real quick to show you guys how to do it. There's a lot of RNG because you're using a single target unit. That means dual attacks will kick your ass. In fact, the score that I've got up right now, I had a dual attack every single break phase. So I actually should have been potentially higher.
But that's only because Smilegate loves you.
Okay, so here's the team, right? I think the gearing is relatively accessible for what we put together on this one. Fastest unit on the team, I believe, is going to be Acades at 277 speed. I put some of my fastest gear on her, though I did stick with HP main stats and the highest HP boots I could find, because she heals based on her health. So you want to make sure her HP is high, so her heals are high quality. You can try to get away without running Touch of Rekos. You can try putting a damage artifact on her, like Card of Small Miracles or Squirt Gun to give you that extra 5% attack. But man, I just about like smashed my head against the wall trying to do this, and Touch of Rekos really cleaned it up. As for an EE, none of them really matter. I guess if you wanted to really min-max, you could go for the number 2 EE that makes her S2 heal a little bit better, but none of them are really that important. Whichever one has the highest percent HP, stick with that one, right? Second fastest unit on the team is going to be Serene Purity Odd, and this is Blue Adin. Only Blue Adin works. You can't use any of the other Oddens in this way because Blue Adin has got the special Torrent ability. After she gets all of her focus up, she does an extra attack which puts Torrent on your highest attack unit, and that Torrent buff does extra damage based on the amount of damage that you do. Anyway, it's a monster damage buff. Actually, the bulk of your score comes from that Torrent buff, and the entire team is speed tuned around letting her do that at least twice in each break phase. I gave her Warhorn just for the extra damage, and I ran her fast, but I got her this speed so that she doesn't waste an extra turn. Speed tuning is very important in this so you don't waste actions inside of the break phase. Give her a little bit of bulk too so she doesn't die to a sneeze. I gave mine enough crit chance that she's got a pretty good shot at critting, but she's not really doing damage, guys. I mean, don't focus damage on her. Make sure she stays alive and that she's speed tuned into your team. Hey, White Base, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I had a great vacation.
Rested Wolf.
Next we're going to use Flan. Now we're using Flan because we don't have A-Lots. The reason we don't have A-Lots is you get bonus damage by having different classes.
Oh, classes. Yeah.
Right, so I don't want 2 mages. So we switched out with Flan. And Flan is nice in this in that she brings an attack buff. She brings an attack buff and a crit damage buff. And that crit damage buff means we can run the crit damage a little bit lower on our DPS unit. Make her, you know, kind of the slowest unit on the team, but still fast enough to take turns because remember, we don't have buff block. So by ignoring that entire mechanic of Hall of Trials, we've got to land enough hits to push phase before we run out of turns. She goes berserk. Now, I decided to put Song of Stars on here to get that extra 15% damage boost. That should help increase the damage from all of our hits inside the break phase. As for an EE, again, none of them really matter. The S2 one that increases 10% on the combat readiness is probably your best bet. And make sure her attack imprint, if you have imprints, is on to give the imprint to our DPS unit, who in this case is Sylvan Sage Vivian. Now, the reason we're going with Sylvan Sage Vivian is she just hits harder than Guider Aether. Guider Aether is easier to use. He gives a lot more healing during the fight. He's easier to tune. But if you want to drop some serious numbers, Sylvian is just better for damage on this. But if you don't have her, use Aether. He works too. Yeah, Aether is also less dual attacks. Unless you're fishing for a dual attack for that last hit. That's how some people are getting those mega huge numbers. I couldn't be asked to chase it. Piece of S is the artifact of choice. Plus 20% to crit chance, crit damage, and attack. No artifact even comes close. If you missed out on POS and you don't have it, I'm not even kidding, Severed Horn Wand is your next best option. 15% attack actually does out-damage Cruel Mischief in this. If you don't have either, just use Cruel Mischief. Those are your 3 options. You could go as low as 65% crit chance, right? You get the 15 for elemental advantage and then the 20 from POS once it's ramped up. But I started her at 80%, so I'm not as reliant on POS's crit chance to get me the rest of the way. Throw as much attack on her as you can, stay as close to 300 crit damage as you can, because remember, we're going to get extra 50% crit damage from the buff, and you cannot overcap a buff. So I will not be at 353, I will just be capped at 350 when I get the destruction buff on her. See, this is what she looked like, right? 96. I tried. I bent Fribbles to the edge, and unless I took her crit chance down to 40%, I couldn't get more damage on her. So screw it. I'm sending a little bit of attack to Auden and the other units, I guess. Just the best I could do with the gear I had. Okay, so this is how the team works. Oh, let's turn auto off.
Could you imagine a Hall of Trials where you get a buff if you just let it auto? It's like 50% less or damage if it's just stuck in auto.
That'd be great. Okay, so we just need to burst 20 hits in as quickly as possible, so we'll just do a bunch of S1 spamming at the start. Actually, her S3 gives a speed buff to the whole team. Now remember, Yufine's S2 strips, and you want to be careful. You want to use the speed buff at a point in time where you're not going to have it stripped, because the strip doesn't ignore ER on her S2. And if she strips the speed buff from some units and not others, it can really jack up your speed tuning. So always check the CR bar and go, okay, her S2 skill is on cooldown, so she's going to use her S1 skill, which is single target, and has no strip, so we're safe to use the S3 and get that speed buff off. Now everybody's speed buffed, and that will really help us get the hits in that we need to get into the break phase. Touch of Rekos doing its thing. Not hurt enough to heal yet. Let's keep hitting. Save Vivian's S3, because you'll need it to protect the Torrent buff. The Torrent buff only works on single target attacks, so you can use the S3 to stall around to save the Torrent up. We're up to 2 hits, and when I say Torrent, I'm talking about a special buff from Auden, not the set. Shoot her in the face. He says Torrent,
he's talking about a special buff from Auden, not Elden Ring.
Dual attack. Dual attacks do increase her focus. Okay, all these bleeds, everybody's hurt. We're going to need to heal on this round. It's a hit. Okay, we're halfway to the break phase. Let's clean everybody up here. I think we're good, right? She's going to do the single target attack again, so nothing to strip the speed buff, so let's go ahead and get the speed buff back up. And this will unleash her focus. This is a hit with 5 bars of focus, and that will activate her torrent. Now you can see we've got the torrent buff chilling out over Sylvian's head here. And this is dispelled the first time you use a basic skill, and it does extra damage. Let's go ahead and S2 yourself because you're a little bit more hurt than I expected. S1 here. So let's see, where are we? She's about to do her ultimate, which guarantee strips everything, and that's good because the guarantee strip means the speed buff won't mess with my tuning. So let's just shoot her in the face. That wasn't the face. And smack. And I am close enough. I should be. Will I get my torrent back? S3 here, then I need 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the hardest part, trying to decide if you ditch your torrent and get another one, or if you save it for the break phase. I'm gonna go ahead and save it. This might be a mistake, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'll probably put it up tonight or tomorrow, Haddad. Okay. This is where you hope that you don't dual attack with Vivian and lose your buff. 4. I need 2 more hits. There's a 1 hit. And a 1 hit, and we're in the break phase. Bam! Okay. So now we're going to use the S2 to push up Vivian and give her the destruction and the attack buff. Watch this hit, guys. From 1.7 million to 19 million in 1 hit. Isn't that crazy? Oh, I can never remember the turn order here. Do I S3 or do I S2? Let me see. She's gonna S3, and she'll S2. I think it's S2 first. That's that torrent buff. That pop damage. Then we can... We're maxed out, so I'm gonna just S... No, I'm gonna S1. See, when Vivian... This is what makes Vivian better than Aether in this, is she gives herself a speed buff when she S1s, and that lets her cycle through, where as long as you don't dual attack, you can get one last hit in from her. So I'm just gonna S1 here, because I don't want to give everyone else a speed buff. This will reactivate Torrent for the second time, so now I've got the Torrent buff back. Let me just heal up here. Now I'm going to S1 for Song of Stars. Get the target debuff up there for 15 extra %. On's just going to S1 here. 20 million hit to 42 million hit. We can S2 ourselves. S1 here. And now I can use my non-attack skill just so I don't waste the last hit. Ah, my timing was off. I should have S3'd first. You'll learn the rotation on this so that you can ideally have S3 when you exit this phase. So you can have the healing up. And this was a perfect run, right? Because the perfect run allowed me to get one last hit in from Vivian. It's not going to be that great, but hey, it should be like an extra 2 million, or 1 million point, 800,000 points. Yeah, the POS artifact isn't all the way up yet. It'll be even better. Does hitting the eggs increase the counter? You cannot target the eggs inside the break phase. You can only target the eggs outside of the break phase. Although it doesn't show it, they're stealthed inside of the break phase. Okay, so let's see here. I do not want to S3 because she's going to do the S2 skill, which could partially strip and jack up the speed tuning of the team. So we're just going to S1. We are going to activate Torrent early, but that's okay. Yeah, get those dual attacks out of your system now. There's one hit, 2 hits. Do I have to S2 myself? I don't think so. I think Vivian's got her S3. Yeah, she does. It's a long ass. That's a long ass skill cooldown though. Just gonna do her spray attack. I gotta do it. I'm just too nervous about it. If I timed it better. Still doing the scream, so we still S1. Yep, I'm really glad I S2'd. Now we can heal all this up. Ditch the torrent. It won't do nearly as much outside of the break phase, just 30k.
Just 30k.
Now we're good to use the S3, right? There's no strip on the horizon, so let's get the speed buff up and try to get some hits in. Okay, same position as last time, so let's do this for the heal and to preserve the torrent buff. I need 3 more hits. 2 more hits. One more hit. And we're in. Okay, so now the S2 pushes up. And I see she's 3 away, but I believe this S2 push will give her a focus through dark magic. Nope, I guess not, but that's okay. We don't actually want her to S3 this, or to do her trauma this round, so we just S1 here. Now we get our big hit. Up to 73 million. Okay, we S2'd first last time. This time we're going to S3. This should totally work, right? S1 for target debuff. And now we S1 to get trauma back on Sylvian. Or not trauma, but torrent. Called torrent, right? Yeah, torrent. Not to be confused with torrent set. That's to ourselves. From 73 million to... Bam! 104 million. One hit here. And then we can S3. Freaking Odin's gonna cut. Unfortunate. And man, and she's using her S3. Ain't nothing working right. Damn. Oh well, the tuning was a little bit off. And by a little bit, I mean a whole freaking lot off. But in a perfect world, Sylvian would have gotten one more 800 or 1 million attack in, so this is costing us a little less than 1 million points. So what do we get out of Odin? At least crit. Okay, good girl. So we lost about 600k points there, right? No, actually, that would have been 1 million. We lost about 800k points there. Okay, now we're on a mad dash to get into the last break phase before she goes berserk. So let's see, that's 1 hit. Two hits, pop. You gotta S2 yourself and hope you cut everybody. Oh god, she's gonna scream. I'm really worried this might kill Vivian. Don't kill Vivian.
Hold on for hope. Hold on for hope. It's good.
We fine.
You're clear. Yep. Absolutely no problems here.
Yes.
I see no problems.
This is there's so much RNG in this part of it, right? Okay, so we're definitely going to get the speed buff up as soon as possible. So there's hit number 4. Get the speed buff up so that we can try to cleave through this. We've got plenty of time. We'll get Torrent back, so let's ditch Torrent because there's no time to save it here. I think with the speed buff we're okay. Hit. That's 10 hits. $11. 12. 13. I'm gonna S2 so I can S3 after she does her ultimate. Everyone else can take the hit. I don't think we'll make it through if I don't have the S3 after she does their ultimate. I just hope this doesn't kill Acades. Oh, jeez. She's got 20% of health left and 2 bleeds. This over here's scary as shit, too. Damn. What are we looking like on the bar? She's gonna scream again. Acades should get a turn. This is a little bit early, but we gotta do it. Don't die. 705 health. Oh,
not even close, bro. Not even close.
Shit.
Not even close.
Oh man, she's gonna scream. I'm worried Vivian won't cut. She'll go to 77. I think she's faster than Vivian. I'm gonna S3 here. Oh, Vivian did cut. Okay, that's fine. We are close enough, though. We do have to S3 to preserve the torrent. Ouch. She's just going to S1, so it's a good time for us to... Do we S3? I think it'll wear off before we get into the break phase. Yeah, I think we S3.
Tristen.
Okay, 3 hits, 2 hits, 1 hit, and we're in. Okay, you know what? It sucked that we got a dual attack, but at least we got a dual attack with Flan, and that gave us target buff, so that kind of makes up for it a little bit, right? Right. What doesn't make up for it is Flan is not going to cut Vivian, so we're not going to get attack and crit damage buff off this first torrent, and it's really going to hurt our score. Oh, she cut! Oh, she cut! 99%, baby. Oh, this is going to be great. Let's go. $107 to... Bam! 145. Okay, so we need a hit here. And let's heal up. And this will put Torrent back on Vivian. No! You son of a bitch! It's okay, it's fine. We just need to S3 here so we don't waste a turn. And the big last hit. 145. Bam! 184. Okay, this is my last hit. I'm pretty sure her S3 does more damage than her S1, but her S1 does have a chance to dual attack. Wouldn't this be sick? Wouldn't it be sick if this dual attacked with Vivian? Show me dual attack with Vivian. Oh well.
Hey.
And that's how it's done, guys. This is a near perfect run. I think I would have had about 186 million if I hadn't had those two dual attacks. It would have allowed me to get one additional hit off with Sylvan Sage Vivian. But 184 million? Not bad, eh? Not bad. In fact, it's so not bad, it's the 7th place score. So I will take it. Hopefully it helps you guys out. If you do not have Sylvan Sage Vivian, you can still do this with Guide or Aether. Basically, it works the same way. You just use S2s and S3s to time and preserve your Torrent. You could probably get away with an attack boosting artifact on Acades because you would have the additional healing of Aether that you don't really have with Vivian. I know Vivian heals on her S3, but you can use Aether's S2 way more often than you can use Vivian's S3. There is no replacement for Blue Auden. Her Torrent skill is unique to her, and it's what lets you do these insanely high scores. So if you want to do these kind of scores, you've got to change your Light Auden into Blue Auden. You've got to farm what's necessary to make that happen. There's no real replacement for Acades. And as for Flan, if you don't have Flan, you can use auxiliary lots. If you're running auxiliary lots and Guide or Aether, you could put Ahmed's artifact on Acades to get the destruction buff, or you just run a 350 crit damage and use Oxalots. You do lose damage because you're using 2 mages, but when I did this, it still got me to 130 million points, 120 million points, somewhere in that range. So it's still enough to get you up into the low top 100s, definitely in the top 1% range. Now, as for how this kind of crap is happening up top here, all I can figure is they're fishing for dual attacks. They're fishing for the dual attacks on those last hits to get the extra points. Or they're just gear gapping the shit out of me. Surely there's somebody who did it with Gaither instead of Vivian, right? Yeah, right here, 180 points. So that shows it can totally be done with Guide or Aether. Hopefully this helps you guys out. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment sections. If you have any additional team ideas, please put that in the comment section as well. I'm sure people would appreciate it. And hopefully next week we get something freaking different. Come on, Smilegate. Let us have access to the Dagger Sakaar. Give us the old Holotrials back, at least alternatively here and there, or at least mix it up and quit giving us the exact same fight with 1 or 2 things tweaked, because nobody likes this. Nobody likes this at all. It's boring and I hate it. And I want to do something different, and I'm tired of the same fight over and over. It's not compelling, it's not fun. Fix it. Respectfully.
I don't know, Tristan. Just because you went on your dream vacation doesn't mean you could bring your fantasies back with you.
Right.
That seems like a pipe dream and a half, I'm gonna tell you. Removing content is the content, you know?